Welcome to Dawn Agreement, a D&D5E actual play. This is the Book of Zintrana, Chapter 5, and I would be very surprised if this was not the final episode. We are joined, of course, by Tavros the Bull, who answers the call for help through his Traveler's Coin. Now, there have been several logistical problems with this show. I'm not sure I explained how these coins work very well, or that it was every other week. Those are basically the two problems that come up constantly. That said, Tavros.
Yes.
At one moment, you are walking through a forest on your way to see King Ragos, or just Ragos. Ragos the monk. Others would call him Ragos the wise. Still others would call him the bandit king. Your worries there are dashed away as your coin stays in place, and you basically appear out of Zintrana's pouch, where you just get vomited out. Allow me to describe the scene around you for you. This is
it's like being summoned, like with the summon monster spell.
Yes, it is exactly like that, because you'll go back at the end of this. The only question is how intact your body will be at the end.
Mm-hmm.
This room is small, little less than 10 by 10. Zintrana, who you've never met but possibly have heard of. You definitely heard from Operator 19, 29?
29.
Yeah,
29.
Operator 29. Yeah, that she's down. She appears to be nearly dead and is just now getting her wits about her. There is a man in a guardsman uniform who is doing traditional fantasy British banter, like, haha, oh, over here, you can't get me, it's me, Farless. Okay, I don't know, it's Farless, I just don't remember what his accent sounds like anymore. He'll be dead in a few seconds anyway, don't worry about it. He is facing a very large woman, Amazonian, who is just beating the absolute shit out of him. There is no chance. If this fight goes on for a few more moments, he's done.
Mm-hmm.
He's done like massive damage. He's just be dead. You arrive with all of your stuff except your precious Traveler's Coin. In this moment, the moment where Zintrana is waking up, it's lying on the ground. Farless is dying. This woman is just like screaming in rage. So I think now would be a prime time to roll that initiative.
All right.
Do you have any questions about what's going on, or?
Oh, we need a combat encounter to.
No. We're not. Listen, you're making that too Just roll a number. Roll a d20. The combat encounters for later. Okay. All right. Never mind. Wow. I rolled a 1, and you somehow will still go after me, Spoon.
Yep. That's a 8 dexterity, my friend.
All right. Zintrana, you're up first.
Okay. What about Farless? Does he get initiative?
No. When her turn comes around, she's going to kill Farless.
Okay. No worries.
Unless you dump a large amount of health into Farless right now, her next strike will eliminate him. So
I have a question for you then, because this is one thing I don't understand quite much with D&Ding these things. So I have an ability which lets me split health over a number of players or a number of characters. Can I know what Farless's maximum hit points is so I don't dump an unnecessary amount of hit points?
Maximum hit points is, yes, you can know that.
Yeah.
I will find it for you. Farless's maximum hit points are 11.
Okay, no worries.
His current hit points are 1.
Okay, and the newcomer is Tavros at all injured or at full health?
Tavros is at full health, 41 out of 41 hit points.
Okay. So
a lot better than 1.
As an action, I'm going to use my daily channel divinity to preserve life, which gives me 20 hit points I can divide among people within 30 feet. But I can't give anyone more than half their maximum hit points. So I can give 5 hit points to Farless, which leaves I can get 13 hit points back myself then. So there'll be 2 wasted hit points.
All right. Now I'll have to actually roll to see if Farless dies. That's unfortunate.
then as a bonus action, I'm going to use Misty Step to Misty Step behind, like opposite side, to try and give Phyllis a flanking bonus.
Are you standing up first?
Yeah, I mean, I can, as a move action, I can stand up. Yes, that's fine.
Yes. So there's not a lot of, I mean, again, it's a 10 by 10 foot room with 4 people fighting in it. There's not a lot of space, but you do end up basically butt flattened against a wall by this woman who's, what? What? So he will get a flanking bonus by courtesy of looking around wildly. I will now roll to see if she kills Phyllis. No. You know, in samurai dueling movies, where the 2 samurai are fighting and then one of them gets that perfect pair. It's like some, I've never seen Sekiro, but I assume that if you get a good parry in that, you get like a good noise and like a sparking flash. You know what I mean? Farless with his spear gets a amazing parry off that just sends her weapon wide. Then she raises a hand and goes, "Who are you?"
Pointing at Tavros.
Yeah, Tavros.
I am Tavros the Bull.
Never heard of you.
You are about to.
It's your turn.
And I will draw my great sword and attack.
It's really hard to draw in here because it's a 10 by 10 foot room with, you know, an 8-foot ceiling and 4 people in it.
Sure.
You're kind of, okay.
Is this advantage because we outnumber her 3-1?
Yeah, I mean, and flanking, yes.
Okay.
I would say you get double advantage. Why not?
I don't think that's going to help.
I don't think it'll help either. Let me check her
This is
AC.
a 13 hit.
Oh, my good friend. You are not in good luck, even without using her shield. She still has a higher AC than that number.
All right.
So it's not that you don't connect with her. It's just that you
Right.
hit her guardsman's chain shirt, and it turns the blade in the process, and maybe it's a perfect parry by her. The chain shirt sparks, and we hear this cool noise. Then, it's not that you're being smushed by this woman, but there's not enough room to shake a stick back here, you know? You're
Okay.
basically wedged into a corner by a 7'1" woman.
Okay, no worries. All right. Well, I will, as a bonus action, cast Spiritual Weapon.
Ah, here we go, the classic.
Yep. And then I will attack with it. That hit.
Yeah, I'd say it would.
And do that much damage.
So it passes through her armor and just physically hits her. She's like, ah!
And
Yeah, it's just
then
straight up. You hit her in the back too, so you know maybe it's like the small of her back where she's like, oh no, oh, this is gonna be a lifelong injury. I can feel it. Did you just get my L4?
It's too soon for that. I've got a bad L4. All right, so then I'm going to Sacred Flame her.
Okay.
So should I make a Dex 13 Dex 13 save?
Yeah. Okay, I'd say. Listen, she's got one hand on her back, just going ooh ah, and then like this flame rolls over. She's like oh ah.
She's doing the Peter Griffin, pain thing.
All right, Farless gets her as well. All right.
Thank you, Farless.
She is bleeding. She's not doing well. A battle that she was literally moments away from winning, executing the 2 of you, has now turned into a 4-way rumble. She does, however, hit Farless. So you gave him up to half his hit points. So he has 6. He goes down.
Okay.
Boom. And he crumples, and Farless is like, my lady, don't worry. a dramatic death. He's not dead yet, but he's knocked out and bleeding. All right, it's you, Tavros the Bull. That will hit.
All right.
That makes me scared because you normally deal a lot of damage.
Yep, and I'm going to go ahead and dump a first level smite into this.
Okay, she is not a evil entity of any kind.
Let's see, so that would just be 2d8. So
is that right?
Oh my god!
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 2d6 rerolling twos.
Yep. Yep. So I got a max on 3 dice in that attack and that damage roll.
Are you sure that's right?
Yeah. Yes, I am sure that's right.
All right. That's massive damage. She's like, is that me?
Is what you?
It is me. My phone is across the room, but it's just loud enough to be heard. I'm just gonna let it happen. I don't understand how I can go like 8 hours without hearing from anyone on any social media platform, and then the instant I start recording, it's phone call, Discord, Twitter. Oh my god.
They know. They're like, oh hey.
I do publish my schedule, so it's true. They do know.
AP's live. Time to give him a phone call.
Well, that's Lawson shit right there. Your weapon hits her and nearly finishes her off, but it is as you move the holy energy into her that she's like, ah! And you can see a dark evil seeping out of her. It is as if someone has attached a evil spirit to her by hammering nails of bone into her wrists, her elbows, her shoulders. It's as if someone has pinned something to her, and your magic is destroying those pins, and the evil spirit is being lifted. And as it leaves her, it says, Master, please, I curse them, destroy them. And then as it dissipates, all 3 of you are cast into absolute darkness.
As in, just like the room goes dark, or it's weird?
Yeah, magical darkness.
Okay.
There's a feeling of motion, but that's about it.
I'm trying to reach around to try and grab Father so I can cast
pretty easy.
Spare the Dying on him.
He makes guardsman noises when you hit him. What's that? Must have been a wind.
I will cast Spare the Dying on him.
Okay, he feels pretty spared.
Yep.
I will use. Oh man, do I want to use that right now?
Do it. What you thinking? Talk it out with the audience here.
My channel divinity allows me to. My sword will emit a light.
Will it pierce magical darkness?
Yes. It emits.
I absolutely
a bright
think you
light.
should do it. There's.
Yeah, so Tavros, I'll use my sacred weapon, and my sword glows with a bright light that fills the 20-foot radius and dim light 20 feet beyond that.
I need both of you to make wisdom saving throws. DC 13. Okay. Yeah, what about you, Spin? What about you?
Wisdom. I can figure out how to do the check here. Where saves at?
Have you got the bar at the top of the screen? You can just use saves from that.
Oh, okay. Got it. $18.
The darkness was a blessing. I want you to imagine that you are currently inside of a ball formed of shadow stuff. Mm-hmm. And now that you have cast a light through it, you see the infinite tormenting plains of the abyss. Towers made of the flesh of the weak and unrepentant demons harvesting not just blood and bone from them, but their very souls, screaming, anguish, but all of it undying and never ending. But your minds hold together and neither of you break down into a low form of insanity as a result. It's just, it'll haunt you in your dreams for the rest of your life, but you keep it together right now. This object that you have, that you're inside of, appears to have taken part of the floor of where you were with you and is transporting you to another location. You can almost see like a corridor of shadow that it is traveling along.
Can we see any that we can't see down the corridor to where it's actually going, I'm assuming? Like what we're going towards?
Make a religion check.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. Now look, you might be thinking, Arthur, why wouldn't you make a perception check? Well, for one thing, looking around you at all is extremely dangerous. But number two, where you're physically headed is not the same thing as where you are actually headed. And you sense that this thing, the energy that it's taking you to, feels familiar. It feels like Castle Hesper, the field hospital where you work at.
Okay. So it's like we're being transported to some sort of demonic warp to get there.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. All right, well, I'll do my best to cover.
Listen,
sorry.
You're going Warhammer 40K. That's too demonic.
Okay.
This is... Listen, there are a lot of things that I wrote for this campaign and this setting that we're never going to see because it's getting canceled. I mean, I had like 4 seasons, fight the gods at the end of it, start with like saving Timmy from a well kind of shit here. The demons are like the demons from Doom, right? They have constructed a energy transportation network that others may use at a cost for like fast transit. It's like a highway that cuts through their lands. All it takes is a few souls. You know what I mean? Like you want to ride the underpass, essentially.
You just have to pay the toll.
So you're like the warp, and I'm like, no, you're on Easy Pass right now. Okay. Do they have Easy Pass in Australia?
No.
You have no idea what I'm talking about then.
No,
you do know what it is. Okay.
But I have to say though, all you people out there who are not watching this show, you're the reason this has been cancelled. So
correct.
You really told them. I feel like your message is definitely going to get to them. You're not sure how long it will take to arrive, but it will be time. It's not going to happen immediately.
So I'll do my best to cover Firelis's eyes. You know, having spared him from dying, I don't want him to deliver him to insanity. So
perfect.
But then I'll turn to this newcomer. So you said your name was Tavros?
Yes, Tavros the Bull.
I'm Zin. Thank you for coming. I didn't know if anyone would actually answer the call.
I will always answer the call of the Dawn Agreement. Whatever I am needed, I shall be.
Okay, so let me give you the situation as I know it. I'm working here in Stonewall and Stonewall, and it looks like there's a Jubilixian cult that is in some way being led by one of the lieutenants of the town guard at House Hesper, an old noble house that's being used as a field hospital for the soldiers from the Drought War. I feel like that's where we're going. I don't know who's taking us there though.
Well, that is a good thing then. If we are going to wherever this cult leader is, we can slay him and dismantle this cult.
Do I have time to change back into my regular armor, Arthur?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
As the two of you are being transported and Farless is laying unconscious, something enters the area. Nothing changes outside, but you feel a presence pushing against the edge of the shadow stuff that says, "So, you have come, tiny souls."
Who are you?
I am the last salvation of the living beings. You speak with Jubilix, god of salvation, of rebellion. You may kneel.
Tavros does not kneel.
I think I'm probably already kneeling by Fatherless, but I don't really consider it the same. I'm not kneeling with intent. What do you want with this place, with Stormwall, with these people?
From your kind, I want nothing but an army. I will save even your pathetic, craven lives. You do not know nothing. You are not prepared. And when my call went out, you have chosen to instead turn your blades on me.
Well, what these people indicate towards, like the remains of the woman, assuming she's still here, were doing was horrible. They were stealing magic from people, killing them, and butchering them.
There's no body for her. She was hit by a smite with massive damage, and her soul and every fiber of her being exploded.
I indicate towards the gibbets.
I require service of you. You must travel into the mountains northeast of Kark and unseal me, or you and all of your people will befall the doom of nothing.
You were defeated before. Nothing will change that now. We are not your servants.
You are correct. Nothing will not change that.
Double negatives. We are more than just the two of us. We have other allies.
You offer more service? This is pleasing.
I tell you, there's more of us that will oppose you.
I see. We are not on the same page. Disappointment.
Where are you taking us?
I am not taking you anywhere. I cannot leave this forsaken rock. I merely cast my mind at the shadow that passes through here. My servants still move throughout the world in order to prevent the end.
You claim to represent salvation, yet your servants give in to butchery. How can any good come from releasing you?
To make a strong house, we must chop down many trees. Some among you are trees that must be chopped to make a house.
I'm sorry, I don't agree.
You lack the capacity of a god. It is not surprising.
Are we still do we still have the feeling of moving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you do. Let me turn off the ominous echoing noise. I don't know how well that's working. Who fucking knows with this voice changer?
it's once again like I now feel like we've had this conversation and we're sort of awkwardly staying there silently, waiting for either him to be no longer there.
Sure.
Or
If you have nothing else to say, the presence of something pressing against the shadow leaves.
I think so. Yep.
Look, he gave you his best recruiter's speech, right? As well as you could understand the words of a god. You said no. He's going back to Demon LinkedIn in order to, figure it out. I have to tell you though, Demon LinkedIn is just regular LinkedIn. Is there anything else you'd like to do before you arrive? If this was a JRPG, this would be your last chance to save or drink potions before the final boss fight, because it's coming.
Do you require any healing?
Well, I still have. I can still provide one heal. I'm more worried about. So this is Sergeant Farless. He was assigned to me and has been helping me. I can probably heal him. Allow me to heal him back to full, and we'll see how we go. I'm all right. I'm out of character. I'm on 14 and 23 hit points. Actually, sorry, because I'm on 12 of 23, not 14. I'll fix that. All right, so I will then heal Farless, Arthur, with a cure. So Farless gets back 13.
It's alive again.
All right.
And then don't you also gain some as a life cleric?
Not yet. That's at a high level.
Ah.
Yep. And if so, are we anticipating conflict on the other side of this?
I think so.
You think?
Okay.
If this is taking us to where the lieutenant who is leading this cult is,
Okay.
I certainly would.
All right. Well, I would like to, when things seem imminent, cast heroism on Tavros.
Ooh.
Imminent. What a great. I like it. Things seem imminent.
Okay.
Do both of you know what an oubliette is?
Yes. It's where you put someone to forget about him.
Well, that is a philosophical description of the room. Yes. All right. So for the audience's sake, an oubliette is a prison where the only exit is through the ceiling. It's a trap door that you lower a rope down to bring prisoners out. So yes, normally you would just throw someone in there and let them die over the course of 2 or 3 days of, water deprivation. This room, this oubliette, is quite large. In its floor has been carved 4 runes, which all appear, well, runes is not a great word, Solomonian sigils and circles, all of which have a base to it, which is altered by something being placed over it to ruin it. There is blood, both fresh and quite old, along the floors. There are 4 massive barrels, which have something like water in it. There's something to it. Both of you have some form of divine sense, right? Well, at the very least, our paladin would know that these barrels are evil. Mm-hmm. There are also 3 shrines to Jubilix, 1 in each corner, and then a small fire that is set into a fire pit in the floor. There's also some scattered equipment located in the northeast corner, and it appears just someone just took someone's dead people's stuff and just threw it into the corner. When you arrive and Farless is up, he takes his spear and he's like, "Huh? My lady, I think this is an oubliette at Castle Esper. I think I've seen this one from above."
Be on your guard.
Huh? Huh?
This
I
place
feel like I'm
is...
jumping at shadows. Wait, who's this guy?
My name is Tavros the Bull.
He's from the Dawn Agreement. He's come to help us.
Then you hear a voice say, "There can be no help for you, Zintrana." And in this space right here appears Lieutenant Abyssagius, who then begins going, now I will take your magic and with it become the most powerful of all in the land. Who's this guy? He points at Davros. It doesn't matter. I can sense your magic, and with it I will become even more powerful than before. Now, Jubilix, grant me the power. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment the look on this person's face. Imagine that you spent your whole life in like the 1% of the 1% in terms of wealth, prestige, military power, and even then, you managed to enhance it by stealing other people's magic so that you yourself could become a magic knight. All right? Now imagine that the very moment that your service has reached its peak is when your master has chosen to betray you and your flesh begins falling off of your body and you are forcibly transformed into a demon. Imagine what that person's face and reactions would be like in that moment of incredible, soul-rending pain. And that is what the person we used to call Abyssagius felt. And in his place, a super demonic goat beast has appeared. Flies begin filling the room. Hundreds of them. No! No! What is this? This power! Tavros, your divine sense is going off. There's definitely a demon in the room with you.
There's a demon standing right in front of me.
Doesn't feel good. Let's see if I can add you all to the combat carousel. Ho-ho! It worked. Man, this is great.
So
let's get everybody's
Tavros,
initiative.
at the start of every turn, you gain 3 temporary hit points.
Oh, very nice. Okay, cool.
All right,
And I rolled a
Tavros,
20
you
on
want to
my
let Farless
initiative.
go first, or will you yourself go?
I will take the initiative and
Very
gain
well.
my 3 temporary hit points. And then, since he's was so nice to appear right in front of me, I'm going to attack the demon.
I'll tell you what you'll do first. Just make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Ooh, that's a
Okay.
5.
You know that feeling when you don't quite throw up, but like your stomach acid sticks to the back of your throat and it gets a little bit up in your nose? You feel that at this moment, just being around this creature, and you take 6 points of necrotic damage.
Okay, so my 3 temporary hit points is gone,
Yeah.
and I'm at 38. All right, and then I carry through with my swing and the battle cry for victory.
Blood, death, and vengeance.
You think your god can save you now?
Advantage or no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely advantage.
Okay, cool, great, fantastic.
Critical hit.
Yep. Gonna drop a smite into that. This could be
my
a shorter fight than you might think, Arthur.
Yeah, it's just like yesterday, man. Just like yesterday. I don't want to say anything to spoil it, but
I love Lawson's.
okay. All right, never mind. Here I go. I spent, hours designing this fight. I made a background battle for it. I hadn't even turned on the battle music yet. Okay.
You better start it now.
Start it now. He's already dead. He's in 1 hit point into overkill.
I'll spare the dying so we can kill him. We can kill him again.
So spare the dying.
Oh my god.
You slash into him, and he goes, "What? A paladin?" And then your force just explodes through his demonic body with enough force to just instantly kill him.
Yeah. Just like shining, like bright, glowing sword right off the head, and he just explodes into holy light.
There's nothing left. for a brief moment, you think you see the same thing you saw with the other woman, where he has pieces of magic and souls pinned to his body, and those pins are coming out. Those souls, that energy is being released as he dies. Let me just go ahead and close combat carousel. Not that I care.
I definitely summoned the right person from the Dawn Agreement.
So here's the thing. As his swing finishes, he suddenly vanishes.
Oh, I was gonna offer to him that, if he needs help,
His mission here
repay the
complete.
favor.
He has been sent back to the coin.
A slight echo of for victory off of the walls as
Victory. Farless is just like, I'm not really sure how to process this. I'm pretty sure my boss just became a demon and died, and now we're trapped in the bottom of an oubliette.
Is it? Let's look around. There's gonna be something we can do here.
If only we had some way to communicate with people outside of here.
Well, I've still got the coin. I don't know if this counts as my.
You use it today. It's the same day.
Yeah. So I mean, if we can rest down here, I can get help tomorrow. Right. But first thing I want to do is make sure that any sort of can we how much can I mess up what is down here as such in terms of the ritual space to try and I don't know, just do what's down here, so to speak. These big barrels, the symbols on the ground.
Okay. The barrels are filled with unholy water, and as you get closer to them, you can feel your skin starting. It's like if you hold your hand too close to something that's hot, you know it will burn you if you touch it, but you haven't quite got that burn yet. Farless, as you may remember, is a musician, and he is like, oh, the acoustics in here are pretty good. So his plan is to start calling for help in song and try to figure out where the best place to stand in the room is to send those sound waves up through the hole.
Okay, I don't know if I can really help him with that, but if I can, I will. Otherwise, I will just try and muck up the symbols on the ground.
Make a performance check, please. Add advantage. If you
I was actually considering taking Bard instead of Cleric for this level, but I didn't. Hey, that's a 6.
Okay. It's about 12 hours later. The two of you have probably slept several times. His voice is hoarse. When someone goes, all right. What's that racket then? Aye, is that Aldrich Farless down there? Who's that?
And Zintrana from the Dawn Agreement. We need help. We're stuck down here.
Right. Let me get a rope. How did you get down here?
That's a long story.
Well, while I'm putting this rope up and hauling you up here, let me tell you my long story. So he doesn't
I used to be an adventurer like you.
No. But he, instead of getting a rope, he gets a full blocking tackle because he's not strong enough to lift 2 people up a rope that has to go up like 40 feet. You know what I mean? Like, he's not
work
Hercules.
smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lift with your legs, not with your back.
Why not lift with both? Why does he? What about lifting with your elbows? How about starting there? He tells you that the whole field hospital Hesperus turned into a battlefield for about 30 seconds. Like a Giasian adherents. We're like, haha, we're evil warlocks and we're here to steal your magic. And like the whole camp is full of bored, upset soldiers who are on field leave, right? So they basically just smacked him immediately. They were like, we'll kill you with our magic. And someone walked up behind them and was like, judo chop. The fight ended way faster without Aegeus there. Yeah, that's it. He finishes hauling you up as he finishes telling the story, and well, let's see if you look like you're all right. Hey, what's that over there? Is that the ending? He points down. Points down the corridor where a giant sign that says "The End" begins moving towards you menacingly.
Yeah, I certainly need to. I certainly will use the coin if it's a new day to let Operator 29 know that everything's under control.
Okay. That's some post
We
credit
don't want
stuff.
to play 29 worrying about this.
I was gonna say, what is this? A Mel Brooks movie?
Well, Tavros,
Yes.
fuck you. That was an incredible roll.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
man.
I probably wouldn't have survived otherwise because I literally had 0 spell slots left and only 12 hit points. And yeah, would have just been whacking with my 1d6 minus 1 damage mace and then trying to throw a
Sacred Flame.
Sacred Flame every turn.
Yeah,
to get through
you
50.
literally went, hey, Tavros, come pinch hit for me, and all they're gonna throw you is fastballs right down the middle.
So, just so the folks at home realize, Tavros rolled a fucking natural 20 for initiative, and then rolled a natural 20 for swing attack. What a great
And
way
did
to
53 damage.
for a man with a
53
negative
damage.
initiative
Yeah.
to act first
Yeah.
and act best.
Yeah. And get a crit
Unbelievable.
and
All
have a
right.
spell to dump into it for a smite, which
So for
doubles
those at
everything.
home, the demon was a Bulazao. So, it would have been a fight for Zintrana and Farless to some extent. It would have been a tough fight. It definitely would have ended in one round, though. The first move. Unbelievable.
Let it be a lesson to you. Don't split the party.
There you go. We're always stronger together.
Yep. Oh, it's like the end of the old He-Man cartoon. We used to have, like those messages about what we've all learned from the episode. See you next time, kids.
Yeah. I'll always bring a pocket paladin.
I'm just glad Phyla survived. I was really worried that Arthur was going to, he was definitely a fan favorite.
I agree. We got to keep.
Both of our fans liked him.
So the two of you, essentially. Oh my god.
Listen, you already killed my NPC, so I had to keep somebody's alive.
Which one? All of them?
Both of them. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll get all the rest too.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We didn't get you while you were walking. We got you right before you were learning the story of the Black Hammerer.
Yeah.
You're going to be gone for like 40 minutes. They're just going to pop back into existence. Oh, man.
Will he still be finishing his battle cry as he bounced back into existence?
Victory! Victory! Everybody's just going to be like, what? Where did you come from? And where did you go? All right. Any last minute thoughts or anything? Any fractal type lessons we can learn from this?
Look, I mean, I enjoyed the series. It's honestly been a long time since I've played much D&D, and because of
I've heard how
doing
you run
fractal originally.
D&D, so
Well, so I mean, I was going to say with you doing fractal recently, that inspired me to run 2 D&D campaigns now, which I'm having a lot of fun with. And I think that with both groups of that, they're players who played a lot of D&D 20 plus years ago that have been playing other game systems, and it's actually been quite cathartic to get back into D&D again. So I got to thank you, Arthur, for triggering that. Also, I've quite liked this character too. I don't normally play clerics, and it's quite different from any of my other D&D characters, but I've also enjoyed it. Sort of, I understand the situation where at the end of the day it's a you got to chase them likes, but it's always yep. Look, I felt the same way at the end of Wrath and Glory. That it was. But in both cases, both Wrath and Glory and with this game, there's closure. So there's more that could with that character story, but there's closure at this chapter. So which I think it's always that's so much better than just having a game which stops running because people stop getting together, and that's it. So look, I've enjoyed taking part. I've enjoyed watching all the shows.
James. I've been there for the campaign that never ended. Yeah. Oh my god! And then
no, I said. Yeah, not the ones that never end. The ones that just you just stop playing.
It never ends because no one meets up again. Yes, trust me, it's so much worse when you record those kind of games And then someone like 3 years down the line is like, is this really the final episode? What happened, guys? And I'm like, well, it turns out all the cast members hate each other now, and one of them is dead. So we will not be filming episode 13 of Stars Without Numbers. I'm sorry.
So Arthur, I've been there for the conclusion of A Time of Total Warfare, for Cyberpunk 2020 plus, for Wrath and Glory, and now for my part of Dawn Agreement. So those 4 completed campaigns probably almost doubles my total completed campaigns in my life of role playing.
Listen, I'm what Dungeons and Dragons professional DMs call a closer, man. I do my best to bring it into it, even if I have to drive it onto the ground and put a stake through its throat just to make sure it stays on the sacrifice wheel so that I can gain its demonic powers, okay?
APC, man, always be closing.
Oh my god. Do you remember when always be streaming was a thing? Oh, no. Jesus. When people were like, if you're not streaming 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're never going to make it as a Twitch streamer. And then I look at people who are like, I stream 2 hours 1 day a week and I have 700,000 followers. And I'm like, yeah, man, always be streaming. That's the key. You got me there.
Yep.
How about talent?
What did we learn here then? Like, I mean, obviously, so
people don't want independent Dungeons and Dragons games set in a new setting, unless you're Critical Role or Brennan Mulligan.
I think, and so that's the thing is like, these are all individual stories with no promise of a eventual like cohesive cast show. I think if they were like, if you did a few episodes like this and we're like, all right, and then at the end of these individual stories, we're going to come together as a cast.
We're going to do Avengers
and play a traditional game. Yeah.
I mean, you could also consider it the way of doing, if you want to do a product this in the future, something like alternate between having, you know, a season of group-based play and a season of individual play. So that breaks up the narrative, gives people a chance to explore their characters. Because once again, talking about your campaigns, if I go back to like Wrath and Glory, I often felt that like I was taking a lot of limelight, or that Ponder was taking a lot of limelight, and I felt that I was attracting. I felt bad for distracting away from the other characters. So the advantage of these sort of single play sessions is it gets to explore those characters more deeply as well.
You might have actually read it. I wrote a business plan for that exact scenario for Avengers-style team-ups after solos for offline TV.
I think you did send it to me. Yeah.
It's possible that could work.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm ready for it. I'm not ready for it.
I've already established that no one in this group is old enough to remember an American cartoon called Mask from the early 80s. But one of the features I used in my gaming was the fact that in this TV show, like G.I. Joe, at the start of every episode, the main character would sort of ask his supercomputer, show me the agents best suited for this mission, and it would sort of go through this little 5-minute sequence of, the computer would name the agent, describe their specialty, and then the next thing would be the 4 agents they picked for that session getting together. Which is why when I ran Dark Heresy, I had like 10 players, and it was just like, I'm running the game on this date. Whichever players turn up on that date, they're the group that's selected for this mission as such. And that worked interesting as well. Obviously, from the point of view, it's hard to coordinate that many people. But I did also have games where all 10 people showed up.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a nightmare. I don't know. It seems like right now what the D&D market is looking for is actual plays of just released products so that people can get an idea for what it's like, how they can prepare, and how they can run it. So I don't know. Maybe I could just run BattleTech for another 4 years and just hitch my star to that one, to something I've increasingly become jaded with.
So having watched a few D&D shows recently, I think that either the most current module, long-term classics like Curse of Strahd, Tomb of Annihilation, they always attract an audience.
Curse of suck my dick. Why does everyone like this? Isn't the
Look,
listen?
I gotta
Listen.
say-
I'm not spoiling it to say that the whole time, right? I don't know very much about it, but I'm pretty sure Curse of Strahd is you're trapped in a marble of reality with this guy named Strahd who controls everything. Everyone is evil. Everything sucks. Strahd is watching you the whole time. Everyone betrays you, and in the end, you only got there because Strahd wanted you to be there in the first place. Am I wrong? This is Curse of Strahd. It's literally the villain is just like, that's right, everything has unfolded according to my plans.
Exactly. I mean, I suppose the thing is that it's supposed to be that the players are just supposed to be the latest group of heroes that Strahd's done this to. So like there's all these signs of previous adventuring groups that have been dragged in and that gone through the same experience. And I suppose if you're the ones that then beat Strahd, that is, I guess, the story turning point. But what I like about it as a module in terms of its writing is that it has no linearity whatsoever. It's literally just here is a bunch of locales in this, as you call it, marble environment. And the players just tackle these in whatever order, whatever way they want to tackle them. And this is the end goal is to sort of gather these 3 objects and this person in order to defeat Strahd. But as opposed to a lot of other modules I've looked at where they're very linear, like, not even like I'm also running Rime of the Frostmaiden, which sort of has like, okay, here is a batch of like 10 quests. Once the group have done 5 of them, they unlock this batch of 6 quests. Once they've done 3 of those, they unlock this next major dungeon. So it is, it has a degree of linearity, even though there's still the illusion of choice. It is a structured. You look at Storm King's Thunder. It literally has a flow chart of scene to scene to scene to scene of what where you expect the players to go. And I guess it depends on what works for you as a GM and what works for your group as players as well. Some players love a roller coaster. Some players love a theme park.
The only non-linear campaign I've ever run was Pathfinder, The Harrowing, which is a series. You get trapped inside the world of a Harrowing deck, which is the Pathfinder version of Tarot, and all of the adventures that you go on are related to the card faces. So, like, the dragon is an actual dragon, the circus is a carnival you go to, etc., etc. You just go whatever direction you want to and do things in any order. It was weird. I did not enjoy it. It was also, I wouldn't say it was poor. It was the Bodacious Space Pirates of modules. It was solidly average in every capacity. It exceeded nor disappointed in any degree.
It's like if you're going to run a sandbox game, you've got to make the choice. Is my sandbox literally I just create the environment, drop my players in, and they make their own story? Or do I also drop lots and lots of story threads? That's what I've done with Rogue Trader, and I probably dropped too many story threads because and then now it's the old Dine approach. Now I've got to bring the Dine back in and actually tie them all together to give it, make it feel like there's a cohesive end. Because I've been looking back at my notes from previous sessions saying, wow, we completely forgot this thing exists.
Listen,
that's
you
always
say
the risk
that
of the
shit,
sandbox.
but when it comes to my man Nero, okay, he had his eye on one prize, the Exchequer, and he said we should go there 15 million times. Then we did.
And he sacrificed everything for it.
I mean, that's questionable. Did he sacrifice everything, or did he gain a family in the process?
Maybe. Except for, maybe... Who knows if that prophecy was if he left his daughter alone or if he raised her himself? Who knows?
Only she was good enough to actually shoot him. I didn't raise someone who couldn't hit a target.
Prophecies have an odd way of fulfilling themselves.
Yeah, so don't discount D&D as a complete failure, Arthur.
I like
don't think
D&D,
this
and there
shows
are
a failure.
people who want to see D&D, but they want to see a specific D&D.
Yeah, I think this is a good game.
My D&D audience has moved on, right? You know what I mean? I used to have a huge D&D audience, but I used to run 2 to 3 D&Ds. It's BattleTech now. I live in a BattleTech world, and every time I look up during BattleTech, there's someone that's just like, trans rights? Pff, get those fucking people out of here. And I'm like, how is this man still employed? How is he employed? That's right, James. Everything is BattleTech now.
Yeah. So I would say, as a player, this is a well-written game, well-run game, a lot of fun to play. And it's obviously disappointing that less people enjoyed it. That would make it viable to continue as a as a structured stream campaign. But I don't call this a failure, Arthur. It's just not what the audience is asking for at the moment. It's still a good game.
Failure. So when my primary goal is to deliver what the audience wants at the moment. All right, at least
not a roaring success.
Yeah. Well, listen, not everything can be Oath of End of Steel. Okay.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah.
I would contest that this was a well-run campaign to some extent. First off, I saw Spoon shake his head there, so that hurt slightly.
No, I said yes. It has been a well-run campaign.
I'm disagreeing for this reason. Just look at the fight at the start of this. Maybe it's just my style, but sometimes I find that some fights and some situations don't require battle maps. They don't require full map content. Even some checks, you can just kind of pass over them if you're just looking at it for time, and it's not that important, and some people don't run that way. Some people are more, I don't know what you'd call it, absolute.
No, I mean, yeah, maybe. But I'm definitely in the camp of if it's not dramatic, don't roll for it. Just narrate what happens.
Agree with that. So I cut some corners from time to time. My bullshit things. I don't know what to say other than that.
I don't think that's a problem. I mean, okay. For example, Theatre of the Mind combats have just as much relevance as battle map combats.
That definitely depends on the viewer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's true. And once you involve an online play engine like Roll20 or Foundry, for example, there is a lot of inbuilt pressure to utilize that system to provide combat maps, for example. Imagine trying to run a Time of Total Warfare where you're doing battle mech combat in Theatre of the Mind. It wouldn't have garnered.
It's so rules based. Yeah. It's so literal, and it's the movement and ranges matter. So the hugest difference there is the way that range matters. For instance, whether you're shooting from 30 feet or 300 feet doesn't make a difference as long as you're rolling at whatever you should be. Disadvantage or regular, whatever. Everything in BattleTech is ranged unless you're the insane man Hunter McGregor running up to hatchet somebody. That's a rarity. You basically, in a regular 4-on-4 battle mech match, unless you got two assaults that want to throw down like gorillas, you're just going to be shooting at each other at range. And it's the ranges that matter that much. And trying to pin all that in your mind would be difficult. Could you run theater? You might, James. Your supercomputer brain might be able to run Theater of the Mind.
So, MechWarrior 3rd edition had rules for Theater of the Mind, BattleTech combat in the Solaris supplement for it. It was more built around one-on-one combat and sort of like the cinematic style of Solaris, and it broke down the time into the rounds where you had to worry about weapons that had a cooldown. Can only fire every so many rounds. Like autocannons could fire more often than Gauss rifles could, for example. But I don't know anyone that really liked that system. And it's the same as if you said, "Hey, I'm going to run BattleTech, but I'm going to use a D&D rule set. And mechs now have armor class and hit points." I think the people that watch the shows, the people that joined. I joined the show to watch the BattleTech system, but I stayed for the storyline. When I first joined you, when I first came to your channel.
Now the storylines are just filled with bitterness now.
Yeah.
Loss.
But I do think the system attracts people.
Yeah.
And D&D does attract people. I think you said it right that there are certain types of D&D, and as much as I hate to say it because I think it sucks that you're building your own world is difficult to then get a following because no one's got connection to it. Well, they've got to make their connection to it. They've got to put the effort in to connect with your setting, rather than just go, Forgotten Realms. I know Forgotten Realms,
the 100th small town in Faerun that's just mysteriously added to the map that was never there before.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean,
That has a step up level of creatures you got to defeat, like defeat the rats in the tavern, the kobolds in the mines, the orcs in the castle, the dragon in the mountains.
Yeah.
Wow.
You could theoretically go to like older settings like Greyhawk or.
I mean, Greyhawk is literally just Mordenkainen and his friend just being like, oh man, it seems like there's a lot of medium level threats out there. We'd better ignore them until they get to our level. Let's let the lesser adventurers take care of that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a setting that has like people have knowledge of it but that's not favored.
Yeah, there was a lot of popularity for Dark Sun. For Eberron, Spelljammer. Spelljammer is probably an older generation, but
Yeah, Spelljammer was back in that
Spelljammer.
2E days.
Yeah, Planescape, had obviously the stuff associated because that was all done by what's the name who did Numenera? Monty Cook. Yeah.
Numenera, the only tabletop RPG I've had a developer beef with me over.
So I don't know if this is true, but what I heard was that Monty Cook basically said that Numenera was the game he wanted to make when he was making Planescape, but he had to fit Planescape into the D&D mold. That's why it became the game it was.
So a totally awful piece of shit where you somehow divide by 3 on a 20-sided dice.
I don't know
where
about the system.
Regular warriors are terrible and people who have magic are not only start better but rapidly become much, much better. Yes, that's the Monty Cook design method.
I was more talking about the setting rather than the
That's okay.
The mechanics.
My beef with Monty Cook is ancient and involves the words linearity.
Don't worry, I also, I've already told you before, I hate Numenera despite having run a campaign of it because because the year I went to the Ennies and everything that won was anything that said Numenera was instant winner. Because it was a new hotness.
I'm going to pile of dog shit that I'll deliver to their front door. I don't like it, and I don't like the people who made it, and one of them went out of their way to personally insult me and start an internet beef. You don't get to start internet beef with me. I'm the starter. That's mostly why I'm upset, is because I was the one under attack. I don't mind that there was attacking going on. I just wanted to be the one to start it.
Yeah.
As much as I'd always love to run on a Maximum X Crawl campaign, there is literally no one in the universe who would watch it.
What is it, sorry?
Maximum X Crawl, it's
dungeon crawling, but
if Samuel
wrestlers.
Adams was an elf and all of the founding fathers were basically like D&D characters, and then what would happen 200 years in the future when Emperor Ronald Reagan, the immortal dragon, opened up a gladiatorial arenas so that people could fight for, and
it was
Blasto energy drink.
Yeah. When I need healing, I reach for a Blasto heal potion.
It gives me the surge I need to take it to the next stage. So it's essentially like a game show where you and your team face off against a guy called the Dungeon Jockey, who personally designs a dungeon every week for someone to face off. Teams will compete to see how far and how fast they can do it. And some of them, like when you get into the upper ranks, it's like competitive. Like you and another team will have to, like you can just outright kill them in the arena instead of letting them get past you. Yeah, it's a fascinating setting, but literally no one would ever watch it.
Yeah, it can be a very fun game to play. It requires the right group, I think.
Yes.
But
I like gladiator stuff.
Yeah, I actually played in a convention game with Brandon LaSalle, who is the guy who wrote it back in when I was going to Gen Con. So.
Oh, Gen Con. One day I'll go. 2027 maybe. What can I say? So I don't know what the next big D&D module will be, but I will probably get in on it. I was going to get into that Strixhaven thing, but apparently it's not even an adventure module. It's literally just a book about owls and magic. So I don't know about you, but I'm not obsessed with owls.
What's wrong with you?
I'm not an owl file. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with people who like owls? That's the real question. All right.
I think we've almost had as long as your outro as the show wasn't.
I
Yeah,
know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the fight was supposed to last like 30, 40
Well, I was
minutes,
going to say,
okay?
come on, Spoon. It's time to kill the outro. What can you do, Spoon?
Hang on. Let me just roll a 20 here.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Arthur.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Audience say thank you, Arthur, in chat.
They won't.
Yeah.
That's it.
Press F to pay respects.
Well, pay respects to who? Over what? Have a good
Hang on.
time zone.